is the Tamba Senior Deputy Minister for Technical Services at the Ministry of Public Works. Good morning, Minister.
Melvin, good morning. Uh, it's been a hurdle here and there. I after a very intense travel across the country, I don't feel very physically fit this morning, but I had to be here. Yes.
You need to work for the Liberian people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, anyway, thank you for the trip across the country.
Thank you.
I know it was quite hectic, but there were some good outcomes, which we will talk about.
Sure. We arrived yesterday 4:30 a.m. and I immediately had to go to work. I don't think I recuperated very well. I should have taken a day off to recuperate better, but I didn't do that. So the body will always tell you what's going on. So that's what's
Obviously.
going on. Yeah.
All right, Minister Tamba, let's look at your recent, like you just spoke about the tour you had across the country. What was the intent of your tour?
Well, in line with our mandate at the Ministry of Public Works, which is the mandate from the President, His Excellency Joseph Numa Boakai, and of course, which is being led by Honorable Roland Gedens, who is the Minister of Public Works. We were given the mandate to go around the country to inspect and see the outcome of our 100 days deliverable. And that's exactly what we did. So we embark on a 14 days inspection of all of the gravel road alignments across the country. Is 13 counties out of the 15 counties. Of course, I can say at this point we went through all of the 15 counties, inspecting road rehabilitation and maintenance works. So basically, it was to get the outcome and support our contractors who have been mobilized across the country. Works are ongoing. Also support our resident engineers who are also supervising the works in line with our technical specifications and methodology of works. This outside of that, it was also to get an appreciation of the level of issues we have in our road sector. And we were able to do just that. It was a 14 days, but because of the pliability of the corridors, we were able to do in 10 days.
So
It was very intense.
look, I heard you spoke about gravel road alignment. Specifically, technically, I know you're speaking from that direction. What does it mean if you talk about the gravel road alignment?
Well, we had contracted about 783 kilometers of gravel roads as part of the 100 days deliverables across the country to make sure that, in line with the mandate of the president, that no car gets stuck in the mud. We had estimated about 583 spots. And these were hot spots where across the country where cars were getting stuck all over the country. And so a part of what we were charged to do was to make sure that all of these locations were restored and pliable. So we started with Broadview to Bopolu. We inspected that corridor. I can tell you, Melvin, that corridor is fully pliable. Substantially, all of the critical sections, outside of some of the things that we've noticed as technical people, the bridge structures, which we have to intervene on, the road is fully pliable from Broadview to Bopolu. We left Broadview and we headed over to the coastal road from Bikiano all the way to Greenville. And we did that. That section, I can tell you that other than the location from ITI to near front town, the section is fully pliable. Of course, we're supporting the contractor and making sure that that section is quickly maintained and rehabilitated to make sure that this coming rainy season no car gets stuck anymore. And of course that's the primary objective of our 100 days. It's not to restore the entire country in terms of paving of roads, but it's to make sure that this old age problem we've had for several years, Melvin, in the next month or so, will be 177 years old. We should not be complaining about one issue over and over. These things should be. We know that the rainy season will come. So I just, when I go across the country and see the life of our people, it just baffles me why this has not been done ever since.
There where I was coming. This is your first time outside of Maserado. I'm talking about in your portfolio as a deputy minister, right?
Well, yes, of course, in my portfolio as a deputy minister, but in my previous employment, I've gone across the country.
And how did you feel applying major routes that were like very hard to reach to your people and reaching to some of your contractual firms that are doing some of these works?
Well, to be fair with our assessment, we had targeted 14 days. We were able to do in 10 days.
So meaning,
which tells you that there are a lot of work that have been carried out.
In this administration.
Yes, we contracted 12 contracts, 9 contractors. Of course, my colleagues, assistant ministers, 2 assistant ministers, and a director that accompanied me on this mission, said, look, Mr. Tamba, we have to do this for 14, 15 days trip. We were able to do in 10 days. That tells you that a lot of work has been done across the country. Contractors mobilize sometimes in some of them even in March without getting any guarantee of payment. And this tells you how our contractors trust this current administration.
So you mean some of the contractual firms or some of the contractors had a pre-advance,
of course, a pre-finance. They mobilized even ahead of any sort of payment arrangement. They said, look, we trust this administration. We want to support the vision of the president that no car gets stuck. And the contractors were very zealous about this. So some of them mobilized and started work. And some of the results we've seen is because of some of this advanced mobilization on the site, with the confidence that they had in the statement of the president and also in the leadership at the Ministry of Public Works. Of course, Honorable Giddens were very strict with those contractors that, look, when we sign a contract with you, we were going to make sure you get paid. And so they believe and trust the confidence of this administration and the leadership of public works.
Did you easily apply in the southeastern region?
Of course. Look, I think I didn't finish my sectional travel from when we left Greenville, from Buchanan, Greenville. When we left Greenville, we traversed through the Sapo National Park that took us from Sino. Okay. We traversed through there, and that took us to River G. From River G, we headed straight down to Maryland, and what we did, we have a section there that has been intervened from Plebo to Barclayville. That section was a no-go zone. Today, you can travel from Plebo straight to Barclayville. You can even make 3 or 4 trips a day if you wish to do that. So this is the outcome of the type of intervention that we've put in place. This has never happened before, as far as I know, for works to be going on in the country concurrently. 783 kilometers of work going on in the country concurrently, with 9 contractors working across the country to make sure that we restore all of our critical sections across the country. So this coming during the heavy rains, that no car gets stuck. And I think we've achieved it.
583 spots, you said early on, that were were being earmarked prior to your entry to those counties?
Mhm.
Did you meet up with what you expected? Like
Oh,
the 583 spots that were like partly damaged.
well, uh, Melvin, the situation was that these spots was places that cars were getting
Yeah,
stuck.
that's what I mean.
Okay, and our target was to make sure we restore
Or
all of these locations. And as I speak to you, 85% of these locations have been restored. 85% of these locations have been restored. Um, we have difficulties on two locations, which of course I can disclose because, of
yeah,
course, we for us, we're technicians, we're technical people. We don't get too much into the political things. We know their challenges, and we speak to those challenges. Um, we have this location that I earlier mentioned to you. It's from ITI leading into Greenville. We have few spots there that we've supporting the contract to make sure we restore it in the next 3 weeks. So in the next 2 to 3 weeks, those locations will be addressed. We also have a location entering Zredru from River G. It's about 23 kilometers to Babel Town. Babel Town is about 12 kilometers from the city limit of Zredru. So we have about 10 critical spots. And of course, I was counting them. And this contractor, we were there. We told the contractor to mobilize while we were there, and that's how serious we are about this intervention. So the contractor now mobilizing, remove the equipment all the way from Akawiken. Now they're moving it all the way to Babel Town to make sure that we address those 10 critical spots location. But road work is a very cost intensive activity, and it takes time. One critical location that sometimes span around 500 meters, it will take you 4 or 5 days to restore those locations. And I see why the previous administration was not able to do this, because it's really a difficult thing to do. But the leadership we bring at the Ministry of Public Works on the technical side, and of course the overall leadership from the Honorable Minister, we've been able to motivate the contractors, even outside of payments, to trust this administration to be able to intervene on these critical areas. And we're doing that. We can say safely that in the next 3 weeks, all of the 583 critical sections areas will totally be applicable locations.
let's look at your inspection. Going to see some of those critical areas. Just one aspect of it, and finding the remedy to them is another aspect. But what makes that aspect better of is that the equipment the contractors use, are they standard? Were there complaints you gathered from some of those contractors that the equipment they use have some deficiency and all of things, and there are critical needs that they be worked on before they commence some of the projects?
Well, on the side of equipment, this is the responsibility of the contractors, and that's why we did single source those contractors on the fact that we consider this intervention as a critical and an emergency. So some of these contractors are contractors that had been doing works before for the Ministry of Public Works, and some of them had succeeded in doing similar nature of works at the ministry. So doing the evaluation, of course, even though it was single source, we had to make sure that you provide us your equipment capability, you provide us your personnel capability to be able to do sort of such an activity. And I can tell you, Marvin, about 60% of the contractors that are involved in these activities, these were contractors that we met had contracts along this corridor already, but were not performing on those contracts. You know why they were not performing? Because resources were not made available to them. And I believe, I can tell you, this is debatable, that they did not trust the system at the time, that if they do work, they will get paid. So these contractors were along the corridor already. So we say, okay, well, look, if we have these contractors already there, why not we modify their contract okay, in line with our objective to make sure that no car gets stuck during the raining period for the next 2 years.
Don't you think that was quite risky on the part of the Ministry of Public Works, having half-paid contractors already on the roadside, and you going to rehire them to continue the project, and you give them some money? At the end of the day, they will just renege and move on, and they say, yeah, the people owe us this. The government is government. Government goes, government comes.
Mervyn, the thing is, they were not working. We had to make them to trust this current leadership for them to go on the road and work, and that's what we did. And the difference here is that we did our own assessment as a ministry. We identified where we needed them to work. We provided them technical support. We don't just do the contract and let contractor go ahead and work. No, we, as you know, of course, for a deputy minister to lead a high level with additional two assistant ministers, technical people, and a director,
it shows some level of
it
seriousness.
shows that we're serious about this. So we give them the confidence, and we're monitoring what they're doing, and we've told them, look, at this time, once you do the work, you're going to get paid. We've given them the confidence. They were there, so we didn't see the need to go around to go and do a new form of tender because they were already there. We saw the gap. That the gap there was that they did not trust the leadership. Then, two, they didn't give them a pure in terms of contract wise how their payments are going to be structured. Okay, so and this is why, of course, the leadership now.
Are you saying their agreements were bleak?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Because
of course, I can tell you, even the previous administration had budgetary constraints. They had budgetary issues. But of course, we are finding innovative ways now. That's the difference. We are finding innovative ways on the technical side and on the financial side. And that's why we, of course, everyone across the country, when we talk to our people, the superintendents, when we talk about motorbike riders, when we talk to the truck operators, when we talk to ordinary people along the corridor, they told us that this is only GMB that can do this. And of course, they trust the current leadership. And I think that's a motivational part of this entire what we've been able to achieve on this 100-day delivery.
Let's look at the bridges. How many bridges did you tour, especially in the southeast?
This is a whole discussion we can have for the next 1 hour.
Unfortunately, we wouldn't have that because we have our outside broadcast team right there in Marshall. We will be joining them in a moment from now. The moment we get words from them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So look, before I get into the bridge, in the bridge aspect, of course, which is very dear to my heart, is that I can tell you safely, Melvin, that the 100 days deliverable has been a tremendous success. Let me tell you why. In the next 3 weeks, 100% of all of the critical sections will be resolved. There will be no car should be getting stuck in the next 3 weeks for those two sections that I mentioned to you, where we have difficulties and the contractors are intensifying their intervention around those areas. We have additionalities that people are not even seeing. You know what those additionalities are? As we speak, 450 employees of our the JJ Jones Bridge in Greenville, and that bridge we see the I beam is heavily corroded. That's a national disaster that is waiting us. The axle loading, the loading that is currently being applied from all of the concession in that area, moving logs to the Sano port it's becoming overwhelming for the bridge structure. It's about a 170 meters structure. I was able to go through, get on a canoe to look under the bridge to see the amount of coral deformation that is going on the bridge, and we have identified them. We took along with us an international contractor to also see the level of damage on the bridge. Our pier is having structural issue. Our abutments have been the air beam is sitting directly on the abutment. These are issues that we face in the bridge. When it's loaded and unloaded, we feel the vibration. This should not be happening. Of course, we're going to intervene on this. However, we want to let the people of Greenville know that if it comes to a point where we have to restrict the amount of loading that gets on that bridge to make sure that we safeguard the life of people and properties, we have to do that. Okay. So we're having issues across bridges. Of course, from Broadway to Bapolo, we have some log bridges that we have to get rid of this issue of log bridges. We should not be in the stage of having our traffic on log bridges anymore. For the age of our country at this point.
In this contemporary
we're going to intervene on those bridges. I can tell you that with the leadership of Minister Gaydens, we've been given the chance to be able to do our technical work, and we're going to do just that.
Generally, Minister, what are the outcomes if you just put them in one frame or one phrase? Say, this is what we acquired, this is what we achieved.
Okay.
And yeah.
Good. Out of the 783 kilometers of roads, gravel roads that we're intervening on, we've achieved about 85% of these roads have been widened, been cleared, because we've inherited a lot of vegetation on that covers the road. The road's supposed to be about minimum 8 meters. Okay, we made those roads about some of them, substantial part of these roads were already covered with vegetation. So we had to clear them to make sure that we meet the minimum standard that one car will pass, the other one passing together. Not that one car will be passing, you wait for the other car to pass, those kind of things. So we've been able 85% to resolve that issue. We also on the critical locations, addressing the critical spots, we also substantially been able to address majority of those critical areas. Of course, I mentioned to you the 2 alignments that we're having the issues. Of course, we ended our supervision, our inspection with Lofa County. Okay, Lofa County, we have a section from between Vanjoma to Foya. We have a little section there that needs to be intervened, and of course we've told our contractors to quickly intervene on this section there. So we've told them to make sure that in the next 2 to 3 weeks we do not see another team will leave Public Works to go there in 2 weeks time, 2-3 weeks time, to make sure that those areas are fully restored. And we're committed to this to make sure that no car gets stuck. So in overall, I can tell you substantially, this coming heavy raining season time, when it comes, no car should be getting stuck. 85% of critical sections across our country has been intervened, has been restored, and they are pliable.
Restoring those places you keep talking about is the entire picture I'm just looking at. Restoring those places that have problems, damage, and the contractors are restoring them, trying to work on them. As a technical arm to the Ministry of Public Works, they didn't take into consideration the durability of those roads.
Well, look, for sustainability issues, some areas we've given 2 years contract, some areas we're giving 1 year contract, because this government will make sure that we mobilize resources with the leadership of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Liberia. We mobilize resources for critical alignments, sections. Of course, you know Lofa is a breadbasket of Liberia. We know the coastal road is very important. Even during the previous administration, they had prioritized the section, and we also going to prioritize the section because we know it's one Liberia. So um, our intervention has a clear methodology of works. Those critical sections were restored to carry the heavy loads, okay, of those trucks. Okay, the axle loading of a minimum of 30 tons should be able to apply those sections. We're restoring them with boulders. Boulders are bigger rocks. We're filling them.
You
Some
not
of them.
there. The ministry, you are sitting right here at the ministry. They to leave people on grounds that will take into consideration what you're talking about. For
Of course.
companies to be to always be watched upon as to how they move about with their equipment and their materials like logs and other things.
Well, this is an issue we have.
Okay.
We do have an axle loading issues, axle loading control, which is I can say is almost dead. A couple of years ago, I used to work for the African Development Bank as a transport specialist, and we know through the European Union, we were able to the ministry through the collaboration of the Ministry of Transport was able to come up with a regulation on axle loading regulations, but the enforcement is not there, and that's why even the Sestos Bridge is facing problem. When it first hit, when that truck hit the bridge, the ministry sent out a moratorium that not more than 15 tons of cargo should go traverse that bridge, should go through that bridge. But of course, this was compromised. So that's why we're having this problem. But I can tell you, in this rainy season, previous government, previous administration, that used to issue a moratorium that no trucks travel on critical areas during the rainy season. It's not going to happen in this administration because we're going to make sure that we restore all of these areas where heavy axles, should be able to travel. Because you know what? Goods and services, we have to go across the country, regardless of the weather, regardless of the season. And that's why the president said all weather roads in this country should be pliable at all times. And that's a mandate that we receive at the Ministry of Public Works, and that's what we're moving with.
What's the next step? You're back in town.
Well, look, we're going to continue monitoring the progress. And I spoke to you about the additionalities. And we're very pleased about those things that no one is saying and no one is talking about. Those additionalities, employment, of our local people across the corridor, more than 450% currently being employed. Temporary jobs given to them for the next year, some of them for 1 year, some of them for 2 years. The income that come out of that, and we're monitoring this with the contractors. We have our resident engineers that are monitoring this, monitoring the civil works, and monitoring the socio-economic aspect of our deliverable. So next step is to continue to monitor this, and it's to also go on the rampage of resource mobilization. We can't keep talking about just gravel roads all the time, okay? And we have to get past rehabilitating or maintaining gravel roads. We have to get to the sustainable part of putting quota, in simple terms, putting quota on this road. So the focus here, which is led by the Minister of Public Works, Honorable Gadens, is to make sure that we mobilize resources. It could be through a PPP framework, the private sector, use other people's money to do our roads and recover them through using our roads as an asset. We put in toll system. There's no reason why we cannot put a toll from Freeport to Clay to Bow side. There's no reason why we should not, because we should consider road as an asset. I can tell you, Melvin, this country, our road asset is about 1.2 billion. We need to increase that. If we don't maintain the roads, it's an asset. If you have a house and you're not maintaining the house, that house will depreciate.
That would be strictly in the purview of the National Road Fund.
No, that's not in the purview of the National Road Fund. The National Road Fund was created as a blanket amount for road maintenance. Okay, only for road maintenance. Of course, part of it is for rehabilitation. So this is in a preview of the Ministry of Public Works in connection with discussion with the national legislature to make sure that we increase our budgetary allocation. We make sure that they can buy in with us, even with the National Investment Commission. The National Investment Commission, they're doing tremendous work, bringing in investors. But in fact, some of our road sections, we're getting unsolicited proposals to do those roads.
From whom?
From countries from countries and business people. Just I've been with public work for 2 months. I've already spoken to two.
You want to break the news?
No, I think this is that's beyond my pay grade. That's for the minister to be able to do that. But I can tell you, as a technical person, I've been able to meet with about 3 private partners who are willing to invest in Liberia, and they're asking me for technical details, which we've provided them. And I can tell you those alignments.
Do you trust them? Do you trust them?
You know, trust is we supposed to get a confidence from the National Investment Commission. They are supposed to do the due diligence. Of course, I'm a technical person, so when they bring them, some of them from the National Investment Commission, they are supposed to do those due diligence, and we provide them the technical parts and give them the alignments that are priority that will be able to boost economic and social parts of our country to improve trade within and with our neighboring country. And some of those alignment quickly, Melvin, I can tell you. Of course, I mentioned one of it already, from Preport all the way to the bordering Sierra Leone. It's very important. The road from 12th Street to Kessley Boulevard across there, that road will save you about 45 minutes. If we do that road, connecting 12th Street to Kessley Boulevard across with the Japanese highway, it will save you about 45 minutes going across. In fact, this is low peak, not high peak. If you're talking about high peak period, we're talking about 2 hours of saving time. We're also looking at the coastal road. We're looking at the road from Broadway to Bopolo. We're looking at the road from Vanjama to Menekoma. Of course, from Salaye to Vanjama also, we're in discussion. Of course, this has been led by the minister to extend the Arab Fund from Salaye all the way to Vanjama. So all of this place, when you talk about next step, our next step is not only to keep this country on gravel road for the next 6 years.
You have a huge assignment right on your decks. Do you think you can achieve them in the next 2-3 years?
2-3 years will be very ambitious, I can tell you. You know, road work takes time. The road have to be engineered, okay? We have to be able to do resettlement of our people across on the road. So for budgetary allocation, we have to come with that. Most of our donor financing that comes into the space, they require that the government take on the responsibility to relocate people from along the road, to provide construction lines, construction corridor, and also make them safe, right of way, provide a right of way. So all of these considerations are on the table. So for areas where resources have already been committed, let's say, for instance, from Tapeta to Total, we have money available already, 40 kilometers. Resources, earmarked, available, contractor identified. From Total to Zreju, 75 kilometers. And that's a 10 kilometer that leads to Ivory Coast through the border there with Total, from Total. That money is secured. Okay. Tender process is ongoing. Okay. So I can tell you also that from Zreju to Putuken, going towards River G, resources available from the African Development Bank. Okay, for that 48.5 kilometers. From Putuken to John David Town, 50 kilometers, resources available already. Tender process should commence by July to be able to intervene on the corridors. The road from Putuken to Kawiken, 11.5 kilometers, resources available already. Tender process should commence very shortly. Okay, we're reviewing the designs. From Kalipo, Kawiken, all the way to Hapo Maryland, you know that section is done. Okay, substantial work has been carried out already on the section. It's already sealed. So I can safely tell you, for that corridor, of course, you know, I'm from Lofa, okay, and I'm constructively envious of that corridor from Ganta all the way to Hapo.
You want to see in Lofa?
Okay, yes, of course. In the next 4 years, You'll be able to drive from Morovia all the way to Hapo in one day and come back if you like. Okay, that I can confirm to you. But because these are places where resources have already been secured. Where we do not have resources, we've done contracts for 2 years.
Okay.
And within these 2 years, with the leadership at Public Works, with the support of the national legislature, with the leadership, of course, of the president of Liberia, we should be able to earmark resources, even through private partnership, to be able to intervene like we're doing from Kanta all the way to Hapa.
Okay, listeners, we can take few calls because we have our OB there in Marshall. And of course, we can take few calls. Let's take a quick break and be right back.
Presenting you, sweet mother. Sweet mother, I no go forget you for the suffer where you suffer for me. Presenting you, sweet mother. Sweet mother, I no go forget you for the suffer where you suffer for me. Sweet mother, I no go forget you for the suffer where you suffer for me. When I dey cry, my mother go carry me. She go say, my pikin, wetin you dey cry, yo, stop, make you no cry again, oh. When I wan sleep, my mother go bed me. She go lie me well for bed, oh. She cover me cloth, say make you sleep, my pikin, oh. When I dey hungry, my mother go run up and down. They find me something when I go chop, oh. Sweet mother, oh, so now my sweet mother. When I dey sick, my mother go cry. She go say instead when I go die, make she die, oh. She go beg God, God help me, my pikin, oh.
So let me take a few calls. 07759785330, 07759785330, or 0880. Okay, let me go to the line and speak with this person. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. So my student guest, the technical department minister, thank you very much for the level of expression this morning to the Lafran people. My name is David Guinea, and I call you from the Western Belt, specifically King George. I want to say thank you because there are a lot of people in the 100-day work of the president who have been detractor, saying a lot of things. And I am glad that this morning he has come on the air to really make things clear to the Liberian people. Because we told people yesterday that this government is not going to be a government that will just say things and they cannot do it. And the minister in custom, Mr. Roland Giddings, we know what the Giddings can do in this country, especially when it comes to implementation to government issue or other private sector. They take care of the issue, and I pray that they will do their best. But my question to you this morning is that many days we see most of our lawmakers, over the years, even for the past regime, they come in the rural community that, oh, I did this road, I did this one. So what the Minister of Public Works going to be doing right now when it comes to road implementation, because we know in the country the Minister of Public Works is responsible for roads. For America, our lawmaker come in to say they are building the road, they are building the road. So what mechanism are they going to put in place?
Okay.
Now that all these things will not go on, that the road will not just be given to contractor by maybe recommendation for no lawmaker that will just come and just put our people.
Okay, thank you. The Minister got your concern already. Just listen, he will address it. Minister, you want to speak to that quickly before we take two more, then we leave you?
Melvin, I don't know what to say to that about lawmakers taking credit for the work of the Ministry of Public Works. Really, is it something you're going to be able to stop? I mean, I can tell you, maybe the Minister of Public Works will have a mechanism to do that. But of course, these lawmakers also lobby, at the House to make sure that certain parts of their county also get intervened. So, and especially, they have their county administrative allocations. Usually that goes through, I think, LACE, right? It goes through LACE. I had an opportunity to meet with Honorable Sakan yesterday. And he also mentioned about his intervention he wants to carry it out in Zwedru City, about 10-15 kilometers of restoration of city roads in Zwedru. So he wants to partner with the Ministry of Public Works, and of course we appreciate that he came over to us to make sure that we can do the inspection, we can monitor, but of course he'll be paid from their budgetary allocation. So some of those things.
Let me hear from this person. Morning.
Good morning, sir. Quickly to speak because of your also broadcast order. I'm Blear Bobby Addison, an investigative journalist. Honorable Minister, good morning. All of those corridors you talk about, absolutely. It is good you talk about it for our people mouth to be cleared. But I have a recommendation. You got ELBC, LNTV, along with your public relations department at the Ministry of Public Works. I would recommend that you make use of the LNTV. We did it in the past during the administration of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf on Charles Nader. I used to go around the country to television, bring it back for our people to know what is happening across the country. So please make use of the LNTV and that of your public relations department to showcase the good work that my government and from the National Patriotic Party. But I consider this government to be my government and Women Walker to be my president. So thank you for the good work. You talk about River G County, my own county, that beat Lofa. Thank you. We're sorry that we defeated you.
Okay, thank you, Bobby Allison. Okay, Minister, quickly, we don't have time.
This speaks to our tolerance from people from Lofa. We accepted defeat graciously, and that just shows how much tolerant of a people we are. So, congratulations to River G for their success. So, but I want to say his point is well noted. We can always do better in terms of communication and visibility. So, and that aspect we will continue to do better on. Of course, we have a very capable team at the Ministry of Public Works that is responsible for our communication and documentary. So they of course, we also just taken over. And we have to put in place certain aspects to give us that visibility out. But his point is well noted. We traveled with one of our communication person. If you visit the ministry Facebook page, you'll see all of the interviews, all of the videos, all of the pictures across the country. They're there. But of course, well noted. Ellen, we can partner with not only the national broadcaster, but other radio stations as well to make sure that the news goes out. Let me quickly tell you that we intend to partner with LBS in terms of a regular radio program, which we intend to title Public Work Hour. Okay. produced and presented. Of course, we can determine that. I used to be here before. I ran a show for 3-4 years here, the Prince Tamba Infrastructure Platform. Here, of course, people appreciate knowing what's going on in the country as far as infrastructure is concerned.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. But some issues, maybe quickly, I want to mention this to our people across the country. Some of the issues we encountered while we're on this inspection, that specifically around Nimba and some form of grandeur there, we have our people in the habit of mining the gravel off the road to go do their construction. And if we've done the road and you go and mine the gravel, remove the gravel, rocks, those small rocks that makes the road to be stable, then when it rains, the place will be saturated and it will be muddy.
Okay.
So we just want to tell them to stop doing that. Also, we have some of our motorbike people also, because I think bad road is their livelihoods. They use bad roads. Because of bad roads, they are able to transport people more frequent across. The fact that now we're intervening on these corridors, they are having issues with it, the motorbike people. I think this is counterproductive to our development. They are vandalizing contractors' equipment because of this. And we think this is not right. We want to tell our people this is development. We all should be able to embrace development.
Thank you, Minister Tamba.
Thank you very much for your time, and it's a pleasure to be here.
He's a minister, that's Deputy Minister for Technical Services at the Ministry of Public Works, Prince D. Tamba Senior. He's been my guest on the Super Morning Show. Until tomorrow when Hassan Kawu says in.